All right, welcome back. I hope you're having an amazing time so far. Our next speaker is Brennan Lodge. He's a security architect at BlockFi. Please join me in welcoming Brennan to our virtual stage.
Welcome, Brennan.
Hello, hello. Thanks for the awesome intro, Patricia.
Welcome. How's your day going, Brennan? We're very happy to have you here, I have to tell you.
Yeah, really excited too. My day's gone just fine and even better now than speaking with you guys.
Heck yeah, we get to talk about AI and cybersecurity, the hottest topic around these days. So yeah, we don't have tons of time, so I think we should just jump right in. So the first thing I thought we could do is, would you mind just telling the audience about your current role, about your current company, anything else you might feel is relevant before we jump into the topic at hand?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, so I'm Brennan Lodge. Hello, everybody. Currently working at BlockFi. So BlockFi, first and foremost, is a financial service company offering a financial suite of products in the crypto space. So everything from crypto-backed loans to a crypto-backed credit card, trading, rewards, interest rate account, so forth. And then my role, work in this unique special projects team as a data scientist and a security architect. So like Dan mentioned, a nice blend of the sexy data science and cybersecurity type role. But yeah, working on some machine learning, data science initiatives, some basic fundamental stuff like reporting and analytics, but really just trying to empower our security analysts to make their jobs a little bit easier.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, that's really exciting to have you here. And before we jump into the next question, I know you mentioned you're going to be attending our in-person event in Las Vegas, right? So am I to understand that this will be sort of a prelude to your talk there, or you can say it, in your own words?
Yeah, sure. A little bit of a teaser. I'll talk a little bit high level about what I'm working on, interesting use case. And by the time of the Vegas event, hope to have some more details about, full on implementation into production. But right now it's in development, but happy to share the inside info, if you will, on what we're working on.
Excellent. All right. So if you're watching this and you like cyber and AI, keep in mind Las Vegas show, MGM Grand, August 17th and 18th. Catch Brennan there and a bunch of other good content as well. All right. So let's jump into it, Brennan. So what unique opportunities or challenges does data science present for cybersecurity? Let's start there because you're at such an interesting intersection of those two areas.
Yeah, great question. I mean, that's where to start, right? To begin. And, I've been at BlockFi now like 6 months and been working with a lot of the folks on the cybersecurity side, really bright folks. And more, I'm realizing I have this like data therapist type role, just helping them through some of the questions, the problems, the insights that they can glean from their own data. And there are a ton of challenges. I mean, I've been in the SOC, I've been in the weeds, been on the front lines doing those really tough investigations. And like just those unique opportunities are, putting yourself in the shoes of that analyst and how can you make their lives easier, right? They're just under siege with the amount of tickets and cases and investigations and a lot of pressure that management has put them on to be thorough in their investigations. And it's nice to have that insight and have that history of working as an analyst, because now I have that context and I can be on the outside looking in to apply some data science initiatives, not so much on the AI and silver bullet of predicting that an APT is running rampant in the company. It's more so starting from scratch, building out those metrics, building out a good hygiene, I call it, to manage your big data well. And then once you've got that under wraps, you can start implementing some of those predictive type implementations to really help and assist and cut down on time and investigations for the analysts.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all that. Just to clarify, when you say data hygiene for the SOC, let's say, can you just say more about what you mean by that and what that looks like in order to enable later use cases of AI?
Yeah, so there's two things, like one on the infrastructure side, so understanding where your data is and how to sift it and get that enriched for it to be like really good context. And so on that infrastructure side, like not all data needs to be real time, right? Like some of it can be batched, some of it can be, help with an understanding of your behavior, right? So for example, understanding your login activity, understanding when and how often users are coming into your platform, coming into your app, logging in from the web, and coming internally, just to get a set of baseline. So that's like the hygiene, right? And then practicing that, right, to then use that behavior to tune and reduce some of those false positives that a lot of SOC analysts are seeing. So more, and then so that's the infrastructure side, right? And then you get into the operations, right? And managing a SOC, right? So security operations center. How can we get more efficient with our number of detections, right? A lot of false positives out there. There may be a detection that was necessary for a vulnerability that came out in 2016, right? You've probably patched and moved on from that vulnerability, but for some odd reason, that detection is still firing, and 100% of the time it's a false positive. And those events firing for the analyst take up time, effort, brain power, and it just frustrates the analyst and can lead to a little bit of burnout. So that's the type of hygiene on the infrastructure side, managing your pipelines, and on the operations side, managing your efficiency or lack thereof.
Got it. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So, you just kind of touched on this. Let's jump in a little more. So what do you view to be the low-hanging fruit when it comes to data science initiatives in cybersecurity? Is it promoting greater efficiency in the SOC, as you said, reducing false positives, stuff like that, handling alerts better?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the first and foremost, just to start, right? Getting an understanding of your operations, like that low-hanging fruit. So we've been able to generate just some metrics, some dashboards on how efficient the SOC is operating. So number of cases open per day, number of cases per analyst that they can handle and manage. And that gets further down the line to, all right, so what's our scorecard, right? So evaluating and using KPIs like the mean time to resolution, the mean time to respond, the mean time to detection. And if you do have get attacked, the mean time to contain that, from start to finish, hey, we eradicated this particular attack. So getting our grasp on that. And then once you've got that, hey, now we can work on some sexy, cool machine learning stuff. So things like hooking in a pipeline for real-time analysis. Kafka is a really good tool to help with that publish and subscribe of your logs coming through, and then adding that enrichment on the fly via a Kafka topic to then send it further upstream into your SIM, to Jira, to security alert via Slack. But those types of pipelines, getting that understanding is some of the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then speaking of, cutting edge, exciting stuff. So you've been working on some sort of new use case for data science at BlockFi. What can you share with us now about that?
Yeah, so I'll talk about one use case in particular that I would imagine a lot of folks, listening in here have the view into, and it's really a pain in the butt to come and grasp it. So, and that is VPC logs. Right, I would imagine a majority of folks are in the cloud in their infrastructure, and the VPC logs are those network connections either between each VPC, outbound, inbound, outbound, to the east-west traffic, so some of that lateral movement, and that data is massive, right? And so how do you come to grips with sifting through it and finding that needle in the haystack. Well, we're overlaying some of that data, filtering some of that data, using like a funnel type methodology. You start from the top and let's just filter on suspicious ports, SSH, DNS, SMTP, RDP, if you have it open for whatever business reason, and then working your way down. So after you filter that, that should, cut off a huge amount of that traffic, where now you're focusing on, that suspicious type traffic that may come from those services. Now, you've got to do that cost benefit analysis, right? Of, HTTP traffic, HTTPS traffic that can be malicious, but hey, it's not being able to filter because it's just too massive, right? And then working your way down onto that like group by and filtering and adding that context using some intel searches from a variety of intel sources, your favorite ones, you can select from, and then, using Kafka for that real-time, topic and enrichment. So if that IP address or whatever IOC comes down the line, you can add that enrichment further upstream. And now we get to the sexy part, which is some machine learning. And apologies about the background here.
No worries.
So the machine learning stuff, right? So anomaly detection, right? And it's not some sophisticated algorithm, right? AI type of rollout. It's, some simple stuff, right? Which, IQR, so interquartile ranges, right? So identifying those outliers. So when you think of a bell curve, right, on the outside tails, what's happening there? And sifting down to features like, how many packets were exchanged? What were the bytes exchanged? What country is this IP address, going outbound, to? And identifying those as anomalies. Hey, now you've got another layer to sift through, and hopefully you're reducing that false positive count, and rinse and repeat amongst that data enrichment, amongst that anomaly detection, and then using some internal sources and data to, maybe you'll have an Intel DB of things that already happened at your company that you can already tick off to say, hey, this is, known business approved behavior. We know this activity going from this VPC to the next VPC is good and approved. Hey, that's an application. Great. That's more so on that behavior detection that you can then, scrape off even some more events and filter down to that, needle in the haystack. Hopefully it's not an attack, but, giving that content and enrichment to the analyst so that when they do that investigation, they're not frustrated because they haven't seen it before and already haven't marked it off as a false positive. And it's interesting, right, to do that further investigation. That's what we're going after as a data scientist within cybersecurity.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you so much for saying all about that. Sounds like a really exciting new project. Something you mentioned earlier, we just have a few minutes left, so it doesn't have to be a super long answer, but you said how you in your role are sort of collaboratively working with those people who are in pure cybersecurity related roles, understanding their needs, where they're overwhelmed, and then kind of working to, create a solution basically for them. Can you talk more about how you had maybe the inspiration to create this use case, and kind of how you think collaboration should occur between data science teams and cybersecurity related roles? People?
Yeah, it's a big love-hate relationship between the data scientists and the security engineer. My kind of like interest in how I got into data science was just out of frustration from some of the security engineers rolling some detections that I would see day in and day out and just get frustrated with. And then starting with the security engineers and being objective, right? And saying, hey, we've seen this detection over the last week. It's fired 25 times. I've managed 10 of those alerts, and each time of those 25, they've been marked as false positive. Hey, this is a detection that is probably up for either we tune it or we just turn it off altogether. And guess what? On average, it's taking like 2 minutes per detection and investigation. So, that time adds up to time that I could otherwise be spending on, some of those high level, high severity types of alerts compared to these low level alerts. And hey, maybe we can tune them so they're not firing as much. And hey, maybe we can add some prediction into the mix, given what we've seen in the past, adding in, some additional features or adding in a feedback loop, right, from other analysts to say, hey, this is a true positive. Let's then model that true positive. If it happens again, given the same types of features, hey, we should probably rank this up as a higher severity. So now you've got like objectifiable like data to come back with instead of just saying, hey, this security alert sucks. Like we need to turn it off, right? Well, we can do better. And here's why we need to turn it off or tune it.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. I mean, because your role is so unique and you have this kind of cool insight into both areas. So, I mean, I expect, as machine learning for cybersecurity gets more and more popular, there will be more people with your unique perspective. But I've always found your ideas very interesting because you kind of have straddled the line in both these areas. So unfortunately, we're kind of out of time. I mean, that was so fast, and thank you so much for sharing. But yeah, thank you for being a part of it. It's always so nice to talk to you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Dan. And hope to see everybody in Vegas.
Woohoo. Patrick, are you still with us?
Of course. That was amazing. Thank you both so much. And a huge virtual round of applause for your incredible insights, Brennan. Thank you for sharing with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate the invite, guys. As always, it was awesome.
It's our pleasure to have you here. And for the audience, it's time for you to make your way to your next session. Along the way, make sure you accept your connection request and take some time to check out our awesome exhibits. Thanks so much, and we'll see you around.
Bye.